Hey, did you know I'm doing a toy drive for the kids? That's right. If you want to support underprivileged children this holiday season, click the link below or in my bio, and you'll be able to access our link to our toy drive. We're going through Amazon, so all you need to do is buy toys. You can see we've already got a ton of them. The more the merrier. We are looking for gifts still for the very young kids, as well as gifts for the older kids. Thank you to all who've already bought toys and donated. Seriously, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, and enjoy the video. We're gonna bring up the next person. Next up, we have the lunatic libertarian. That's quite a name. Who wants to talk about abortion as well. So we'll bring them up. Lunatic, can you provide me your age and pronouns, please?
42 and everyone, everywhere.
Everyone/everywhere. You use neopronouns? Is it
not really? I just thought it'd be funny.
Okay, it wasn't. Do you want to try again? I'll give you another second to make a better joke.
I'm not sure. I don't have really that much of a sense of humor, but
well, we could tell. If you have, I'll give you a chance to give a better one though. Like, you can have your time.
I mean, he, him. I mean, it really, that's
okay.
I'm a male, so I use he, him.
Okay, just a tip for the future. If you come up to like do comedy, you should probably have more than one joke in the can, just in case the first joke doesn't land.
Yeah, I'm a master diesel technician. I don't know anything about real comedy.
Okay, yeah, that was we could tell. Lunatic libertarian. Now, you think abortion shouldn't be legal. You think it is subsidized by the government. Is that correct?
Yes, through Planned Parenthood, the main facilitator for what we know of abortion.
Okay. Do you know what the Hyde Amendment is?
You can educate me.
Sure. The Hyde Amendment is a government passed policy from I want to say the Hyde Amendment was the 70s. Yeah, 1976. That says abortion facilities cannot use government funds to fund abortion. So no abortion facility has been able to use government funds for abortion since 1976.
Well, I would say that, what we know about government and their efficiency of how they keep their record books, or, the contractors that they use. I mean, I'm sure that there's fraud, waste, and abuse, or misguided funds, or funds that are transitioned through another entity just to make sure that the funding still occurs. I mean,
sure, do you have evidence of this then?
I'm not an auditor of their finances. I'm sure that if I dug deep enough, I'm sure I could find some evidence. I'm not.
Okay, well, Planned Parenthood specifically is audited every year to make sure they're in compliance with these rules, and they've never once been found to be out of compliance with these rules. So unless you have evidence that they are out of compliance with these rules, we kind of can't just say like they were and operate under that, right?
Well, I mean, we know that you would agree, though, that most of what we know from government audits is inaccurate information, correct?
I would not agree with this. Actually, government audits are like pretty on point and on par. Attorney generals who do most audits of government, not that Planned Parenthood's a government agency, but who do most like government audits are pretty good at finding fraud and finding the waste and abuse. That's why we know that it's out there and that it exists, because they find it.
Well, I don't empirically believe that, but I mean,
do you have evidence?
We can go on what I like I said, if we're going to get into other systems as far as what the government subsidizes and whether their accounting is accurate to what they give to the government versus what the government discovers, I mean, I'm sure that's a different debate. I brought that information up just as an idea that, systems are pretty much corrupted, and I don't have any empirical trust in them. So even if there's data presented, I always have to look at it with a critical mind to say, is this evidence actually accurate? I mean, we can go back into the CDC evidence that was presented by COVID and stuff like that, where the numbers don't quite add up. But I mean, yet again, if you believe in government accounting, then I will give you that.
So we can talk about COVID numbers if you want. Those numbers have been shown to be largely accurate, with some fluctuations here and there. But your claim is that abortion is a
depending on what your
government.
sources are, CDC information versus what's presented by independent researchers definitely contradict themselves.
No independent verification has been able to disprove the CDC numbers like with any statistical significance.
There's actually been congressional hearings on this, but I'm sure that
none of those congressional hearings have been able to find statistically significant inflation of numbers.
Okay. I mean, if you believe that, that's fine.
You're the one who brought up the congressional hearings. Can you give me which congressional hearing found a statistical significance in the disparity between those numbers?
Well, I want to get back to the original argument of abortion and the origins of Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood as a eugenicist program.
Sure, Margaret Sanger.
We
can get into this. Margaret Sanger was pro-life.
Healthcare.
Margaret Sanger didn't like abortions.
Margaret Sanger is somebody that was a eugenicist, and
she wanted to get rid of. Margaret Sanger wanted to get rid of disabilities through birth control. She thought it was a way to functionally get rid of disabilities. Yes.
She didn't want to get rid of black, brown, or...
No, incorrect. This is why she worked very closely with civil rights leaders to provide contraception in black neighborhoods, because her, as well as those civil rights leaders that she worked with, believed that unwanted pregnancy was basically a death sentence for poor black people. So she worked specifically with civil rights leaders. Are you saying those civil rights leaders were too stupid to realize that she wanted them gone?
I think that civil rights leaders, depending on which one you're talking about, if you're talking about Martin Luther King, or if you're talking about
Martin Luther King didn't work with Margaret Sanger,
or you're talking about, say again?
Martin Luther King didn't work with Margaret Sanger.
Well, I mean, there's multiple civil rights activists, and if you want to look at all story of history versus just itemized sections of history, right?
I do look at all.
I'm not here to. We have to look at the argument in totalitarian, because let's go through it. Writings of Margaret Sanger.
I've looked through her actual writings. Yes. Sure. Which of her writings show that she wanted black people to be eugenicized away?
Let me bring it up here real quick.
Can't wait.
Because another argument is contraception. So, do you believe that the
we'll get in, wait. Nope. We'll get into that after we handle the Margaret Sanger claims.
Well, because that's another reason that she's a well-known individual. But Margaret Sanger
was pro-life, did not like abortion, thought abortion was one of the worst things mothers could do. She was for contraception. She thought contraception would be a way to weed out people with disabilities. That is true. She was a eugenicist in the case that she thought disabilities could be weeded out of populations. She was not a eugenicist in the term of race. This is why she worked with people like W.E.B. Du Bois, James Hubert, and Mary McLeod Bethune, all on the Negro Project, because they all believed, as well as prominent doctors in black communities, that birth control was really important for black women because black people were historically super poor. And having a kid when you're really poor makes the stressors of poverty worse.
Yeah, okay. I think that when we look at this argument, right, if you believe that, I think that it's being disingenuous. But yet again, everybody picks...
Stop.
Hold on a second.
No, not hold on, man. You haven't provided a single shred of evidence for any of the things you've said so far. Yet I can pinpoint you the exact project that she was working on. It was called the Negro Project. I could pinpoint you to the exact letters that she wrote that are mischaracterized, and the reason why people believe she was a racist.
Mischaracterized.
Yes, because they don't read the whole letter. They read one sentence of the letter and they go, look, Margaret Sanger's a racist. I can point you to the exact interview that she had when she was alive in which she said abortion is the worst thing a mother could do. Like, you can provide me nothing. And so you're saying, well, you believe all of this stuff with all of this evidence you have backed behind you. I believe what? You have no evidence for any of the things you've said. I'm asking for it. I'm sitting here waiting for you to provide it.
So, dear friends and what does it say? Sympathizers, I greet you as an old friend and a pioneer in the birth control movement, right? It has been my privilege to communicate with you in the past, ever appreciative of your sympathy and with the feeling that with an emergency is upon us, you would like to be informed. The birth control movement is about to face the greatest test of strength in its history. The United States government is about to express its opinion about the vital and momentous subject. In 1916, I deliberately and continuously challenged the constitutionality of the law by opening a clinic in Brooklyn and giving information on how to prevent conception to more than 400 overburdened mothers. I was arrested, convicted, and sentenced to 30 days imprisonment, which term I served, having consciously violated the law for the purpose of testing its constitutionality in the higher courts. It was determined to appeal my case even after the sentence was served. The case, having gone through the various courts, is the state. It is now before the United States Supreme Court and will come up for hearing the latter part of November. Speaking in this case, this is just one letter. So if I were to continue on and read all of her literature,
that letter said nothing. You know that letter said literally
nothing. No, I know
nothing.
it didn't say anything. That's
So
the
what was the
thing
point
that I
of
can
reading
find.
it? You read it. You didn't have evidence, so instead you
Because
pulled up
it's
you pulled
showing
up a
that I
random
actually
letter.
looked up her writing. Yeah,
No, you looked it up just now, and then
but
you
the
got a
thing is
random letter
that-
that you thought,
okay,
oh,
so-
this will tell me that I'm right, and then realized as
Okay,
you were reading
so-
the letter, it doesn't prove anything. What you're talking about, Margaret Sanger specifically wrote a letter to Clarence Gamble, and in her letter to Clarence Gamble, she, within correspondence with him, is talking about the need for black doctors to work with the Negro Project because black people didn't trust white doctors at the time. Absolutely true. She said in that letter, and I quote, I'll say the quote because it's the quote that people always misconstrue. She said, "We do not want word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population." But what people tend to not do is read the rest of that letter where she's like, if white doctors do this, that's the idea people are going to get. And that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to work, again, with people like W.E.B. Du Bois, who, I'm sorry, probably would know when a white person's trying to exterminate his people, who want to get birth control to black women so that they can help themselves when it comes to poverty, when it comes to things like that. If you want to provide evidence, you need to do more than a cursory Google search to prove your side. And right now you haven't done that.
I'd agree with that. So Margaret Sanger created Planned Parenthood. We would agree with that, correct?
Did she create Planned Parenthood? Yes, they didn't start abortions until after she died, though.
Okay, so Planned Parenthood now does provide abortion, correct?
Yes, Planned Parenthood now does provide abortions.
Okay. Does Planned Parenthood sell that biological material on the market commercially?
I hope so.
Okay. Does the person volunteering that biomaterial get any of that compensation?
Probably not.
Should Planned Parenthood, because of their commercial gains by this biomaterial, should they be subsidized by the government in any way for any of the things that they facilitate?
Yes, for all of the family planning, for all of the STI testing, for all of those things, yes. They should receive government subsidies like any other healthcare provider would.
Well, do you believe that healthcare providers are providing actual healthcare or symptoms management?
Both.
What diseases have been cured in the last 100 years?
What do you mean by cured? Like on the whole? Or do doctors cure them like on the individual? I don't have a list of like all diseases that we've cured in the last 100 years. But I know like you can be cured of something if you catch something that we have a cure for, and going to the doctor, they can cure you of that thing if a cure exists. I don't know what point this is trying to make.
Well, I mean, do you think that the profits, even if they overcome the actual subsidies that they receive, do you think that should be provided by the government, or is that something that that private commercial entity should be able to provide themselves since they are in profit?
Planned Parenthood is not a for-profit
to release
entity.
the burden from the
Planned Parenthood is not a for-profit. That doesn't mean that they are for-profit. Like being for-profit and earning a profit are two different things.
Correct. I mean, but yet again, even if you are earning profits, you should have the self-sustainability to where you don't have to be subsidized, so that the burden on the taxpayer.
Can you name me a large a large like industrial industry that is not subsidized by the government? I can't think of one.
No, and I absolutely think that they should all not be subsidized, because that would relieve the burden on the taxpayer, and then commercial entities that fail,
They
and
would
then
all
they can be
fail.
replaced by something better.
They would like legitimately all fail.
You think that all commercial entities would fail if they weren't
I think
subsidized by the
all
government?
industries, I can't name a single industry that does not receive government subsidization. Those
Do you
industries would
think
fail.
that? Well, right,
Fly-
but that
the
comes
airline
from
industry would
lobbying
fail.
the government.
Like
Well,
they'd
that
be
comes from lobbying the
fucked.
government to get rid of competition, though. Wouldn't you believe that?
Does it come from lobbying the government to get rid of competition?
Yeah.
I think there's plenty of competition in the airline industry. I just think the competition doesn't matter
Okay, why is that?
because they all just overcharge.
Do you think that if they were to commercially compete, though, with other private entities that because they aren't subsidized, do you think that would help?
What does
I
this have
mean,
to do with
because
abortion?
that's what I believe is that, lobbyists lobby, these political actors and say, hey, eliminate my competition for me by creating legislature that does that. It doesn't
What does
actually
this have to do with
create
abortion,
a free
though?
market, though.
I'm so confused.
Well, I mean, we were talking about Planned Parenthood and subsidy. So I'm saying that Planned Parenthood shouldn't
Planned
receive
Parenthood
subsidies because they
receives
are,
normal Medicare subsidies because they provide Medicare and Medicaid subsidies because they provide services under Medicaid and Medicare. They do not get subsidies for abortion care because of the Hyde Amendment. Other things they do because we subsidize healthcare with Medicaid and Medicare. So are you saying we should get rid of Medicaid and Medicare?
Well, I mean, is Medicaid something that will come after a person's assets after they pass away to collect fees for reimbursement?
I don't know.
Depending on which state you're in?
If you have Medicaid, you don't there's no reimbursement. So I don't know why would they be coming after them for reimbursement?
Well,
There would
a lot
be no
of
reimbursement
a lot
for
of
Medicaid.
individuals. Well, a lot of individuals, what happens is they'll go into nursing care or whatever, and then they have assets. Well, the government will come back and say, well, we paid out this amount of money for your stay and all your treatments through that entity. And then, well, now that you've passed away, we're going to come after your assets to recoup that money. It's just another tax.
Do you have any proof of this from Medicaid or Medicare?
Personal experience, because I think it was like $60 some $1,000 that was owed for Medicaid, and they came after my mother-in-law after she passed. So she owned a home outright. They wanted to, it goes into probate, and then it goes.
Was it
into,
Medicaid or Medicare?
I have to double check which one, but I believe it was Medicaid.
Okay, let's see.
I know it was one of them.
Yeah, Medicaid has a state recovery, so it would have been Medicaid.
Yes. So it's subsidized, but it's only subsidized until you die, and if you don't have any assets, then there's
Well, the
nothing to
subsidies
collect.
don't
But
go
if
to
you
you.
are-
The subsidies go to the businesses that are providing the care. They're subsidized for the care so they can provide the care at low to no cost.
right,
Like Planned
but in the
Parenthood
end, if you
provides
have
services for
assets,
no cost.
Well, but you understand what I'm saying, though, is that the government will come to recoup that expense if you
Okay,
have
what is
assets.
this? What does any of that have to do with abortion, though?
Well, I'm talking about it went from Planned Parenthood to subsidies. Do you think that any medical system should be subsidized to take the burden off the taxpayer for the monetary system that keeps them under control? Because I'm trying to
As
understand.
of right now, yes. As of right now, yes. But I believe that we should just have universal health care. But as of right now,
Okay.
yes, because we don't have universal health care, the government should continue to subsidize so that health care costs are lower.
Okay, so what's stopping from the doctors from doing it out of the kindness of their heart? It's the monetary system, correct?
Well, yeah, we live in a system in which services are provided for money. What does this have to do with what point are you making? What's your claim?
Well, I'm making a claim that, the control system of money, which is just a concept that we all agree on has value, even though it's just a promissory note in a bank of trust. And it's it's something that controls everybody's lives to where they dehumanize other people over it. So it's like a central cornerstone of why people are in distress for what they got going on in their lives, right? And when we look at government and the supposed idea that we are going to be, taken care of by government because we can't take care of ourselves, I'm just trying to point out the fact that if more freedoms were out there and less barricades, so I'm taxed on.
What did healthcare look like prior to government stepping in and regulating it?
I don't know. I haven't dug into all that because
we don't have to dig in. Let's go back. Let's look prior to ACA. What was healthcare?
I don't think that. Well, and I don't think that people should live to be 100 years old anyway. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I don't think
more
that,
people should die in healthcare, and that would actually be beneficial.
Well, we're overpopulated as it is according to Bill Gates, so I think that would help that out, and we wouldn't have to have all these toxins introduced.
I'm sorry. Wait. You said we're overpopulated according to Bill Gates?
Yeah, you just said it on a TED Talk.
Okay, what does Bill Gates know about population? Have we hit a point of scarcity yet?
No. Well, I mean, there is no scarcity.
Are we overpopulated?
Well, I mean, that's what he says. I don't think we're overpopulated. I think there's plenty of land for everybody to have a little.
Then there was no reason for you to say it.
Well, I'm getting to the point of you don't have to have artificially introduced environmental factors by other control systems. I'm going to say a couple phrases, and I just want you to tell me if you agree or disagree to them. Should more people die within the healthcare system? Should more of them die? Yes. Well, I don't think you're going to stop that. People die. What's the third? You've said people should not live. You've said people should not live to be 100 in a conversation about healthcare. So I assume that you're saying that we've hit a point where healthcare is causing people to live too long. So I'm asking you, should more people die in the healthcare system? Are we keeping people alive too long? No, the healthcare system isn't keeping people alive too long. So what was the point of you saying people shouldn't be living to be 100 anyway? What was the point of that? Well, that's just a personal opinion. I think life is achieved pretty much by the time you're 80. Why are we bringing personal opinions that don't matter? Well, that's what debates are about, is personal opinions. No, debates aren't about personal opinions. Debates are about proving an argument with some sort of logical consistency or facts. Well, I mean, what's the logic into believing that a man dressed as a woman is a woman? I mean, that wouldn't be logical, would it? I have tons of logic in the trans debate, but we're not having the trans debate. Do you want to move to that because you've realized everything you've said so far you've had no evidence for? No, I didn't come to this debate with evidence. I came on to this debate just to create discourse. Why would you not come to a debate with evidence? Why would you just say, just in general, in life? Generally in life, why would you just say things with no evidence? Oh, it's entertainment. No, a lot of the stuff that's brought up is entertainment. No, because a lot of people that's literally what it means to be stupid, is to say things that to be stupid is to say things you believe are true with zero evidence. Well, the thing is that I can write a book, right, and put information in there, and if it's regurgitated enough times, then it can be considered true. You haven't been able to prove that anything that I've said to refute your claims has been regurgitated stuff. What you've said is regurgitated. Like you bringing up Margaret Sanger being a racist is just something that's been regurgitated by pro-life advocacy groups, even though there's zero evidence to it. Well, that's just like the civil rights movement was good for black people when they had it better before when they owned everything. They didn't. In every single economic metric, black people do better today. They have higher spending power. What is they economics? Have more. Economics is the understanding. Stop talking. I'm talking now. In every single metric that we measure economic success, I muted you because I'm not going to let you spew shit that's factually untrue that I've double checked thousands of times. In every single metric, economically, black people do better today than they did in the 40s and 50s. They have higher spending power, higher wages. This is all by rate as well. So this is all per capita by rate. They are per capita they own more homes now. Their income is higher.
even when adjusted for inflation, you're not going to find a single economic metric to show that black people were better in the 40s and 50s than they are today. It doesn't exist, and I've done the research on this. So you can try. It won't work.
Timeline. Well, you're using a compacted timeline. Let's go back to the 1600s.
You said pre-civil rights era. We are doing better today than we were pre-1600s.
I asked if
you said you said the civil rights movement isn't good because they did better before.
Pre-civil rights is all the way back to when?
I know you're trying to flounder. You're trying to flounder your way out of this.
Well,
in every metric,
what is the timeline?
In every single metric, I'm going to mute you because you just don't know what you're talking about, and it's getting kind of embarrassing. In every single metric that you can pull out, every single one, black people in America do better today than they have since the dawn of this country. There's not a single metric that you will be able to pull out of your ass to show otherwise. Now, if you want to talk about how black people did prior to being enslaved, that's a different conversation. How did we do prior to all of our people being enslaved? I don't know. We'll have to look at that in multiple different ways. That's a more nuanced question. But there's not a single metric in which black people are doing worse today than they did prior to the Civil Rights Act. We can go from the Civil Rights Act all the way back to the inception of the country. Doesn't exist. You're just saying things because you're hoping for a response. I'm not giving you the response you're hoping for, so you're hoping that you can latch on to any little bit and piece there to get the conversation going in the way you want to. It's just not working for you.
Well,
it's kind of sad.
It's kind of funny, but if we look at what we're talking about,
we've already proved you're not a comedian, so we know it's not funny.
I'm not trying to be a comedian. The thing is that we want to latch on to certain word says and then go on to a tangent about that. Now, if I sat in a history class and memorized all these data points that you very well have memorized, I'm glad that you've done that. But the thing is that empirical data is not empirical. We can see
empirical
that
data
every
is not
data
empirical.
Point,
is my favorite. It might be my favorite thing anyone has said all day. You're right.
Yeah,
empirical data definitely isn't empirical.
Can be debated whether it's true or false.
So debate it. Wait, I don't care about if it can be debated. Somebody who debates something that's factually untrue with untrue information, just because they can debate it doesn't make it true. Prove me wrong with evidence.
If we were to dig up every piece of information, I guarantee you will find discrepancies.
Hey, lunatic, dig up one piece of information. From this whole stream, I would like one piece of information from you. Just one. I don't need every. I'd just like one. One would be great. That would be one more than you have given.
I already gave you one with Medicaid, and you found out that there is that subsidy has to be recouped. So
yeah, that has but that has nothing to do with the larger conversation we were having, which is abortion. It has nothing to do with the conversation. It was just you pivoting to a million things.
Hold on. You asked for one, and I gave you
Give me a data point that relates to the actual conversation we're having. Sorry, I didn't mean
that was one that was related to the question and the conversation.
No, it wasn't. It actually wasn't.
You needed that. You didn't know, so I gave you that information.
I didn't know because it has no relation to the conversation of is abortion being subsidized.
But you said that there was nothing that was getting recouped back to the government. So that was proven incorrect.
No, I said
right? Because now you found out that the state does
wait. The only reason we were on the conversation about the government recouping is because you had nothing to prove the abortion is subsidized thing. You literally keep changing the subject every time you're proven wrong. It's getting a little embarrassing.
So economically,
this is how libertarians always argue. Holy shit.
So what do we operate on? We operated on a gold standard dollar, right? From 1913 until...
Yes, and thank God we got off the gold standard.
Why is that?
Every single country that remained on the gold standard suffered worse economic hardships during the Great Depression period, and they were unable to get out of the economic hardships of the Great Depression slower than us. Thank God we got off the gold standard.
So when the Federal Reserve was enacted and all this cash flow was coming into the country, what happened when they crashed it in 1920 to actually collect all of the collateral that the country had?
You tell me.
Well, I'm just saying that's the actual timeline. So Federal Reserve gets enacted, then they inflate.
Did countries that remained on the gold standard suffer worse hardships because the Great Depression wasn't just the U.S., it was a global thing. Did they suffer worse hardships during the Great Depression? Yes or no?
I think that's something that can be dependent on what social economic.
It can't be. The answer is yes. See
ya.
ya. It's been fun, but I just can't talk to somebody that like literally has zero information. Sorry, at some point I got to pull the plug.
Hey, thank you all for watching this video. If you don't know me, I'm Jovan Bradley. I'm a leftist content creator who does debates, political commentary, gaming, and more. If this is your first video, thanks for sticking to the end, and I hope you subscribe. I post videos daily, and there are hundreds of past debates on my page for you to enjoy. Thank you to all my YouTube members. Your continued support helps me create as much as I can. Consider joining. A membership starts at $2.99 and gets you access to our community Discord, early access to videos, and more. Shout out to my Tier 4 members, Red Fairy DF, Ellie McReady, Not 3.6R, Sylvia Snow, Paul D, Zurith Moonpaw, Kazim, Never Again, Bamji, Emery Imogene, Ayla Ursus, Call Me Vel, Kelsey K, Jake Gorshander, Matthew Holloway, Vampy, Yemye, Mealy, and Dragon Nerd. Your continued support goes a long way in helping me continue the fight for equity, justice, and education. Thank you again for watching.